guys, so as you can see from the title of this video, we're going to be talking about kind of a touchy subject for a lot of people. Yeah, so just giving you a little trigger warning just before we get started. We will be talking about abortion and also being raised very strictly religiously. Yeah, so just so you're aware. Basically, I, like a lot of people actually who were raised religious, used to be very pro-life. I was always very concerned about this issue from the age of a young child, and I think a lot of that goes with just kind of being like told, like when you're little, if somebody's telling you, oh, people are killing babies, obviously you're not really going to support that. But obviously at that point, like a 7-year-old's not gonna be able to have a stance on abortion. They don't know better. They don't have all the information. They don't have the ability to digest all of that information, you know? And so it's kind of ridiculous, I feel like, when parents tell their kids, oh, like, let me take you to this rally, or, oh, let's not support Planned Parenthood. Like, we don't want that. We don't want babies getting killed. And obviously it's valid. Nobody wants babies to be killed. I'm pro-choice now. I still don't necessarily want that, but that's not my choice. That's not anyone's choice for anyone else. And there would be certain situations where if I was pregnant, an abortion would be an option for me that I might seek out. And that many people do seek out, and there should be no law against that. The only thing that making abortion illegal does is literally make it unsafe for people to get abortions, and it just causes so much physical and emotional damage to be pregnant or to be in a situation like that when you don't want to be, that people like to be like, oh, we'll save the baby, and it's like, so you don't care about the person that's pregnant? Cool, great. For specifically men, or specifically cis men, there's really no way for them to understand really how much of a strain emotionally and physically it is to be pregnant. And they don't have to care. They don't have to get pregnant. They don't have to give a single shit about it. All they see is, oh, babies shouldn't die, cool. But there's so much more to it. And first off, Planned Parenthood does way more than that. So like, what? But just these strict laws in like Georgia, and they're trying to like place one in Ohio, which is where I'm originally from, and it's crazy because there are so many instances where people will now not have the choice of an abortion, where people who could be raped, where people could be abused, people could be minors and not even get the option. People could have health problems that literally could cause them to not be able to survive the pregnancy. And they could also have health problems that they don't want to pass down to a child, that they don't want to like bring someone into the world to deal with again, like they did. There's so many valid reasons, including just being not emotionally okay enough to go through with that, or not physically okay enough. And the fact that like I, like so many other people, I was completely brainwashed. And I'm not saying that anything's wrong with being religious. You can be religious and have a fully formed opinion that you have that isn't forced upon you, and that's fine. I'm not saying anything against that. What I've dealt with and what I grew up with was just opinions and rules and words that weren't mine, that were forced upon me, that I was forced to believe because of the way that they were telling me. I wasn't told the whole story. I wasn't told all the facts. I wasn't able to even understand that. And there's so many parents that just do that, and I think that's honestly very traumatizing, because to be someone that is that against something you don't even understand because of how you're being raised, like, that's not okay. That's physically not okay. Like, I didn't have the whole picture, and so many people don't have the whole picture. There's so many people out there that aren't even educated on the subject. They're able to make laws about it. Society's so misogynistic. Like, society has to, like, take everything they can from women and from people that need reproductive rights, that they need their reproductive rights to be protected. People that are either cis women, trans men, born as female. I'm binary people, really anyone. Like, I don't even identify as female, but these issues still pertain to me, and these issues pertain to a lot of people. And the fact that there's so many people that are like, oh, well, it doesn't matter, like, I'm not getting an abortion, so it doesn't affect me. And it's like, first off, you haven't lived your whole life yet. You don't know your whole story. You don't know what's gonna happen to you. You don't know if you're going to end up needing one at some point. And just because you don't want to get one doesn't mean other people shouldn't have the right to a safe place to get an abortion. Like, what? I feel like religion just plays such a bigger part in politics and in belief systems than it really should. Like, it's just crazy. I feel like a completely different person than I was when I was younger, and not even that young. I got into high school and I was still wearing pro-life t-shirts that my father bought me. And it's fine that he has the opinion he has. It's fine that a lot of people have that opinion. But it's not fine when that opinion takes away the rights of others. And that's not fine when that opinion is forced upon your children their whole life until they learn better and become more educated on that. And there's just so much to it. And I'm sick of people just taking control of that situation and trying to get as many people on the pro-life side and forcing their kids. I used to counter protest outside of Planned Parenthood because I used to live really close to one. There were always people protesting outside of it and harassing people that were just trying to get to their doctor's appointments. And I lived right next door to it, so I would always hear this yelling. And one day we just got sick of it. And so Jay was gone out there a couple of times, and then me and Jay ended up going out there alone. And people, the way that they looked at us just for wanting to have some support of the people that went in there, to just make sure that they're going to be okay, that they're in a safe place, and that we're not gonna let these people hurt them. We're not gonna let them get close to them. And yet people looked at us like we were gross, like we were disgusting, like we just wanted babies to be murdered. And that's not even what the situation is. People are just so brainwashed. And even if God exists, he's not even a pro-life person. Like, he's not pro-life. God has never been pro-life. How many times has God taken away people's children in the Bible or killed multiple people to make a point in the Bible? Like, there's no way that he'd be pro-life. So it doesn't make sense why people are acting like, oh, like religious reasons. Like, so many people are so religious or brainwashed about it. It's like, sorry, have you ever even read the Bible that your whole religion's based off of, or nah? Like, is that the tea? Because I just want to know where you're at. Like, what do you mean? Like, are you just uneducated, or do you really just not give a shit about other people and what they have to deal with? And it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense why people are so okay with men just, like, getting people pregnant and leaving. Getting people pregnant, maybe paying child support, maybe not, probably not. They're so immune to disgust in like our society. Like, so many bad things are happening around us that nobody even reacts much anymore. Like, it's just too much to even react. Like, we're desensitized to it. Like, the fact that so many rapists never see a day in jail, never even get probation, never even get caught in the first place. And yet, when that law gets in effect in Georgia, you will literally, like, women could be sent to prison for basically life. For life. Just for not wanting to get pregnant. What happens to the guy? Nothing. They could be raped and try to get an abortion in a different state and be sent to prison for being raped. Yet nothing easily could happen to the rapist. Most likely they will never be locked up. Most likely they will never see any repercussions for their actions, and if they do, it's gonna be very little. And the fact that that's just the world we live in right now is crazy. Like, just saying it out loud is so insane. It doesn't make sense. Like, it's 2019. It's 2019, and these things are just still happening. It's like we're moving in reverse and nobody cares. Like, nobody thinks twice about it. And, like, there's so many people that are angry, but nobody seems to really listen. No one seems to really make sense of it or do anything to fix it. And we just live in a society that if you're born as a woman, whether you identify as such or not, you have way less rights than so many other people. Like, you have way less rights than the men in your life, and it sucks. It sucks to see that at this point in my life still occurring. It's literally just so focused on the gender binary and so focused on women not having the rights to their own body. And guys are just like, oh, well, get your tubes tied, do that. And it's like, it's not that easy. Go get a vasectomy. Go get a vasectomy if you're that angry about it, or you don't want to be a dad, or you want to fucking go raping people. Like, what do you mean? Like, are you kidding? Like, there's so many things that could be done that are not this. And this doesn't even stop abortions from happening. This doesn't do that. All it does is traumatize more and more people, cause health problems, cause mental health problems, and just force people to go through with something that they're not okay with, that's affecting their body, that could kill them, that could kill their child, that could literally drive someone insane if they're not emotionally okay with it. That if someone was raped, like, that's insane to make them go through with that, to force them to tell them that if they don't go through with that, they have to spend a life in jail because of something that someone else did to them. When I was little, I understood to a point that it's very hard to get pregnant for some people, that it's very hard to be able to go through with that and to be able to give birth to a healthy child. There's so many cases that where a child is just not viable, where the child within you is not viable and the only option is to get an abortion or give birth to a dead child. My dad and religion and growing up in such a Christian area, all it taught me was that I didn't own my body, that I didn't have the right to own my body, that other people could do with it as they please, that other people could make decisions, could make laws that change what I am able to control. And for some reason, for a long time, I was okay with that. I just thought that's how the world works. That's how things are. You fight against babies being killed. You fight against men being pushed out of power. You fight against all of that. Sexism doesn't exist. It's fine. That's just how the Bible's written. And like, I just went along with it for no reason. It was all I knew. It was all so many people know when they're that young. Like, whatever your parents believe, it has an effect on you. It has an effect on you whether you believe that or not. And for a while, I did believe it. I never went to a pro-life rally, but there were many opportunities where my dad offered to take me to one, where my dad wanted to go on a road trip to go to one. And I would be given pro-life t-shirts as gifts to wear to mission trips and Christian camps that I was told to go to. And I didn't have a say in the matter. And I think part of me knew that it was wrong, part of me knew that there are exceptions to that, and part of me knew that I wasn't fully pro-life. But there was no way for me to tell the people in my life at that point that without being ridiculed, without being seen as a baby killer, without being seen as a hateful person, without being seen as a non-Christian, which I'm not anymore, but that's another story. It's not a hateful thing. It's not. And the fact that so many people can't see that is ridiculous to me. The fact that I can look at pictures of myself from 10 plus years ago and see this little child in a pro-life t-shirt shaming people that have had abortions, shaming the people around me, and yet that's not seen as hateful. That's seen as in support of the good cause. That's seen as something positive, something that you're supposed to do, something that a good Christian does, something that good daughters do, that good sons do, and that's not what it is at all. And it disgusts me. It disgusts, I can't even talk. Disgust. It's disgusting. It's crazy to me that I can look at pictures of myself wearing pro-life t-shirts and going on mission trips and acting like some white savior, like with some weird superiority complex. Like, I didn't think I was better than anyone else, but my actions definitely implied that, and the actions of the church groups I belonged to and of my father implied that we were doing some good, that we were part of God's army, a part of like God's army or some bullshit. Like, sometimes it's a responsible choice to go through with something that has a negative context. And that's not even to just talk about abortion, that's to talk about the right to having birth control, the right to see your rapist go to jail, the right to literally be able to obtain Plan B. And there's so many people that are against that. There's so many people that want to make that even less accessible than it already is. And it's already very inaccessible to many people. Like, not only is an abortion a crazy amount of money, but even Plan B could be a crazy amount for someone out of pocket. I mean, it was for me, so it was for a lot of people. And it will continue being unless we do something about it, unless we keep fighting back. And this is not a time where anyone can stay silent. This is not a time where we just get scared and hide away and act like it's not happening, because it is. And if things like this keep progressing and going on, then who's to say what's gonna happen next? I was a child when I was told that abortion was wrong, that abortion was out of the question no matter what, that Plan B was basically just a pill version of abortion, that you couldn't obtain that no one should obtain that where everybody just wanted to go back to the good old days where people would try to give at-home abortions with hangers, because you know that's really what we need to go back to, and it's disgusting. I'm disgusted with how I used to see the world, with how so many people used to see the world, with how so many people still do. And if you don't want to get an abortion, you don't have to. But if someone else does, you don't get to choose for them. That should never be someone else's choice. If you want to take Plan B, that shouldn't be your choice. That should never be someone else's. If you want to go on birth control, if you want to use condoms, if you want to be sexually active, that's your choice. And sometimes there are repercussions to that choice, but that doesn't mean you shouldn't be able to choose. At the end of the day, everyone should have control over their own bodies and over their own circumstances. And if we keep staying silent, if we don't fight back, if we don't email people, if we don't contact people, if we don't sign petitions, if we don't vote, then we go unheard. And that's the last thing that we need right now. So that got real fast. Yeah, so that's just some thoughts about my self-growth, about where I've come from, how I view things differently now, how this is an important issue, and how we need to talk about it, whether it's scary to or not. And that just because you were raised a certain way doesn't mean that that way was correct. And the things that you were told one day, even if it comes from a good place, can be very detrimental. And they can be incorrect, they can be wrong, and they can be wrong for so many reasons. And it's so important to do your own research and find your own voice and find your own viewpoints on things. Don't rely on anyone else for that. You need to know for sure for yourself. You need to know what you need to do. You need to know where you stand. You need to know your opinions on things, and no one can make that choice for you. No one should make that choice for you. Yeah. That about sums it up, I think. And yeah, so there's going to be some resources down in the description, so give that a little look and just try to remember that staying vocal about these issues, reaching out to different representatives, and staying tuned into the news, staying registered to vote, and making sure that your voice really does still count. It's always important, so give that a look, maybe click a few of those websites, and yeah. I hope you guys liked this very real talk Wednesday, and yeah, and leave a comment if you liked. I'm always open for discussion, whether you agree or disagree or just want to make a statement about your opinions and what you believe in. That's obviously fine. Free speech is very welcome here. I post every Sunday and most Wednesdays, and if you'd like to see more content and more chill real talk with me, then please hit subscribe and like this video if you like what's going on here. That's about it. See you guys later. Bye.